everybody. Welcome back. It's Mia from Firewave Wellness, your digital platform for healing, vitality, and holistic health. Today we have a Laura Rubenstein. Hi, Laura.
Hi.
She's the author of Transform Your Body, and she has this amazing just understanding about holistic health and wellness. But you guys, she is an amazing person to just know online and has given people so much access to opportunity and possibility. And so I'm so excited that she's going to speak and tell her story for you guys today, because it's been quite the journey, and she's been able to help so many people along the way when it comes to, getting healthy, hypnosis, but then also those bigger goals, right? And passions in business and just being your best version of yourself. So Laura, welcome to the show.
I'm very happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, I'm excited to kind of dive in. We connected because of being the foodies that we are. But tell us a little bit about your journey and where that started and where you kind of began the book.
Yeah, well, most people today know me in the marketing world, but what they don't realize is that I have a huge passion for holistic health, wellness, healthy food and eating, and that started as a kid, actually, when I saw my sister who had eczema and psoriasis at age 8 and I was 12. Go to doctor after doctor and nothing helped. Dermatologist, creams, gloves, tar on her hand, nothing helped, right? Then my parents took her to this kind of physician, which was an orthomolecular physician. And what that doctor did was put her on a regimen of vitamins, something called cell salts, and a diet of no white flour, no white sugar, no fried foods. Within 3 months, her hands were like she had all these scaly hands, were beautiful, clean, normal, right? And I think it made a bigger impression on me than her, because I started reading Prevention Magazine and I changed my eating habits. I'm like, wow, if that could happen, what's possible? I don't know what really got into my head, but I got fascinated, and I read a book called The Women Doctor's Diet for Teenage Girls, and I was at that point where people were talking about eating too much, eating too little, controlling, and most people were still doing the junk food diet, right? And I was too. I had donuts for lunch, and then all of a sudden I'm taking yogurt and tuna fish and getting into healthy habits and looking at my habits as a way to feel better and just be better. I don't know what it was that got into me. I just was passionate about it. I started taking vitamins, and so I went to engineering school and I majored in biomedical engineering, which again, there's my interest in the human body and health again, in a way. I thought about going to med school, but then I realized I had friends in med school and they were all talking about drugs. And I'm like, drugs don't work. My sister's hands, healthy foods work, like it's not like drugs don't work. I shouldn't say that, because there's a place and a time for everything, for Western medicine, but taking care of yourself can help you avoid some of the more acute things you avoid doing those drugs. So so after I graduated, I was in marketing, and customer service, and really didn't find my way until a friend of mine who I had been to her classes said, you should take my hypnosis class. And I'm like, okay, why? I was open because I'm into the holistic and the wellness and the nutrition. She goes, you could help people. You could help them with their eating habits. You could help them transform their bodies. And I'm like, okay, you got my attention. So I went and I got schooled in that, alongside of everything I was doing professionally. And I was also doing a lot of personal development. So then I opened up my own hypno coaching practice, because I started practicing on friends, this hypnosis thing I just learned, and family. And I tell you, I got like 99 to 100% positive reactions from people. And I was like, even my mother, right? And, she's always trying to protect me. So from doing something that might not work, right? And she's like, your voice, and this is great, and can you give me a hypnosis session for weight loss? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So we played around with that, and then I wrote the book Transform Your Body in the Mental Gym, and started, actually, before I wrote the book, I started coaching people in group coaching. This is before Zoom, okay? This is before video. I was doing it on teleconferences, and really getting very connected to people and helping people get into exercising more and eating better and healthy habits. And the booby prize was they lost weight, right? To me, if you feel better about yourself, you have a greater sense of your self-power and esteem, and you're eating better and you're happy about the amount of exercise you're getting, that's the win. That's the real win.
Yeah, and it's so important. And I love how, you took us back to like being that teenager and like, the magazines you choose, right? Like there's so many options you had and you were reading Prevention magazine
Okay, I also read 17, but I
you were
was
well rounded. You were well
but
rounded.
I think it was because my family had that magazine in the house. Like, because when my whole family underwent this transformation with my sister, right? And so my dad was buying the Prevention magazine and I was reading it. I was like, okay, this is kind of interesting. They got recipes in here, they got articles about vitamin B and vitamin C and vitamin E, and wow, I didn't know all that. And well, let me go have a glass of orange juice now.
Yeah. And that's what's amazing. We've talked a lot in this show about the generational impacts, and how that is important because you take on the habits of the people that fed you before you were, taking decisions yourself. But we haven't really talked on until right now that understanding that like your environment and that your home, is also that like either health increasing environment or health diminishing environment. And because you had Prevention magazine on the counters and your sister did need to necessarily take those tasks, right? You were exposed to all of those good healthy habits, and they stuck. And I'm sure you felt better, in comparison to the donuts and kind of just exploring that. So, as the book got, stronger and your programs were doing so great, kind of tell us what were those things that you saw inside of people's weight loss. I'm curious if you can kind of give us that download of how, powerful what was that you were experiencing in people's hypnosis sessions, how you saw them liberate, and what kind of benefits and results they got.
Well, everybody's issue is a little different, right? There's a huge emotional component. So people think that everybody knows how to lose weight, eat less, exercise more. Done. But it's a billion whatever dollar business because people think they need to know something new. It's really about creating what I call mental muscles. Okay. And it's practice. It's like I can say, so what I have people do, here's a little exercise for people. It's like, okay, if you're at an event or you have a choice to eat something and it's not what you normally would eat, it's like dessert. Like you don't eat, some people may have the habit they don't eat dessert except when they go to an event, a wedding or whatever. And I know that will be coming back. People will be able to go do those things. Or even if you're at the store and you see these things and you want to pick it up, you could have a conversation with yourself. And it takes time to build up what I call a mental muscle to say no and to feel good about it, because you're going to have to like do a tug of war in your brain with the neural pathway that's already there. Oh, that looks so good. I should treat myself. Like there's all these things we say. Instead, you can start practicing saying, oh, well, how will I feel afterwards? After I'll feel guilty. I know I'm going to get on the scale. I'm not going to feel good about that. So is it worth it? Oh, but it's so good. And, like you're going to go back and forth, but the back and forth is good. At least start having the conversation with yourself and say, you can do this just today. Don't buy it. Don't buy that cookie. Don't buy that cake. Just today. Tomorrow, maybe. Because you know what? You'll feel better. You'll get on the scale and you'll feel better. You'll feel better when you're right about to go to bed and you know you didn't eat that extra whatever. So if you can start having the conscious conversations with yourself, you'll start re-imprinting it. Hypnosis and habits are basically developed by repetition or shock. I prefer repetition. Okay. So it's about practicing going to the mental gym and saying, oh, I'm gonna not buy that cookie. I'm gonna, yes, I did it. I had a glass of water instead of, I went to the kitchen and I turned around and, instead of going into the cabinet or whatever it is. And I did it. And I did 10 jumping jacks and I drank a glass of water and you don't do your exercises all the time, but you do it enough times that you start changing your habits a little more. You're doing a little less of the old and a little more new things, and then eventually it flips to the point where we were talking before the show. You had said something like, oh, people love their soda, and I'm like, that's like a weird thing for my mind to hear. Like, people like soda? I don't get that, because my mind has flipped, because I remember seeing in somewhere in elementary school, a teacher took a baby tooth, dropped it in a glass of Coca-Cola, and we watched it disintegrate over the next like 2-3 days.
What a powerful teacher.
I was like, soda, bad. Soda means no teeth. No teeth means I can't eat nothing, right?
Yeah.
So, no soda. Soda looks like skull and crossbones to me. Like, don't go there. I did the same thing for myself with donuts. I remember my first job out of college, they were bringing donuts in, and I ate one. And this was before I was even trained in hypnosis, actually, but I did the hypnosis on myself because everything's hypnosis. Whatever we say to ourselves, we're hypnotizing ourselves. Okay. So it's like, I took a bite and then I got so tired I could hardly function at work. Now I'm like 20, at the time, 22, something like that. And I am like feeling gross. And that in that moment I said, no more. This is my, and I had that Prevention Magazine little hypnosis already in my head. And so I had okay eating habits. I had great ones and everything in moderation, but this is when I'm first developing more strength, more mental muscles. And I'm like, well, maybe donuts are really like that poison thing again, because look what they did to my body in a matter of 10 minutes. They took me down. And that ain't happening. Okay. Donuts will not have that power over me. I just made a decision. So that's the power of the mind. You can, if you reframe it, then they have no power over you. You have the say in your health. You have the say in how you feel. You have the say in how you look. And that it was what I became so passionate about because I saw it in my sister who could do it at age 8. So then, we can do this. We got this. We have the power. It's here. If we use it, if we know how to use it, if we practice it. Be easy on ourselves because, an airplane going from Los Angeles to New York, does it go in a straight line? No, we all know. If you think about it, you may not have ever heard this, or maybe you have, but it's constantly course correcting. But the minute it goes off course, the pilot doesn't say, sorry, we're off course. We're never going to get to New York. We're going to Brazil instead. No, it's like, no, we just go, okay, we're off course 10 degrees. Let's go 10 degrees. And then maybe it goes 15 degrees and then we go 5 degrees. And eventually we make it to New York. It's not about being perfect on a straight line. It's about, okay, well, I took a bite of a donut. You know what? I just confirmed I don't really feel good because I can now feel that sugar in my body activating things that is a little bit too much. Like I can get my high by running or by doing some jumping jacks or by watching a funny video, okay? There are other ways to get what you need emotionally or talking to a professional, getting some hypnosis, whatever it is, See what you always have options. You don't have to go to the sugar.
Yeah, I completely just the options, and then what came up for me as you were talking is having integrity in choosing those options is so important, right? Because yes, your muscle's growing, and in the beginning, your muscle's not going to be that strong, right? And maybe it is hour by hour, and we've talked about that, with other experts, that like that finesse that it takes to slow down and hear your hunger and hear your nourishment, hear your satisfaction, and then making those options. And if you're the kind of person that will kick yourself on the back end, being nicer to yourself before, right? And if you're the person that normally would just like fire hose your way through life, then that slowing down will also be able to encourage you to make those small wins. And I think that the small wins, what they do, and what I've seen in my community and in my clients, is that the small wins actually start to stack on each other. And so then you're just able to live in integrity with that value consistently, which is kind of like what you were mentioning in the brain flip, right? Like now these understandings of health and your foundation is so rock solid, which is what this show is for people to get that solid foundation in their head, and in their body. Mm-hmm. But then you're able to, like, you can have a pulse on yourself now, it sounds like. You know what works for your physiology.
Yeah, and you may have to try different things to build that muscle. Like maybe distraction works for you. If you're like a fire hose person, you always have to be on the go. So maybe you're going to the kitchen and now distract yourself. Find a way to go go out the front door for a minute, come back in, and what was I, go get a glass of water, go back, and say, oh, I can go. And the other, like kind of tricking yourself into being healthy, it could be like, oh yeah, glass of water, I'll come back to that later. Like I'll come back to that cabinet later, because it's not, you're saying no, we want to be, like you said, nice to yourself. And the integrity piece, what it is to be human is to be out of integrity, constantly trying to be back in integrity. So it's that course correction thing. So be gentle with yourself. You're not going to be perfect. It's okay. But you will get better if you want to. And you start doing little things, try different things to see what happens. Don't give up on yourself. Whatever you do, know that I believe in you. Okay? If you don't believe in you, I believe in you. I've seen so many people take a step and then they take a step back, and that's okay. It's human. You get to keep your human card, and you get to make another choice in the next moment to go take that step into the health integrity that you want. In any moment, you can choose that. Even if you've taken 10 steps back, you can take one step forward. See how many step forwards you can take. Make it a game. Like this is fun. I love what you're doing with this Well-Fed Warrior, because it's fun. And if we make it fun, if we kind of healthy trick ourselves into doing healthy things, and then you can have the better health and reach the goals you want to reach. Whatever you do, don't use this summit, don't use anything you read as a tool against you to beat yourself up. Don't treat my friends like that. You are my friend. Don't treat yourself like that. Treat yourself really good. And treating yourself good does not mean have a piece of cake. Actually, it means say kind things to yourself and make positive choices in the next moment. I've even caught myself, and here's a good way to practice this muscle.
Yeah.
If you catch yourself in the act of eating something you're going to regret going down, and while you're eating it, you're thinking that, spit it out. I know it sounds disgusting. Get a napkin, go to the garbage. I don't care. You're telling your brain, that's so powerful, your brain, I have control. I am in control of reaching my goals. Even if you just finished a half of whatever more, the moment you recognize you can spit it out and you actually spit it out, either one, recognizing is the first step. You might swallow it. Recognizing it the next time and then saying, oh, I could spit it out. Duh. It's like.
Yes. What a valuable perspective, Lauren. Like, seriously, Laura, that just, you've built it up for people, right? Because that first conversation in their mind, and just recognizing that it is in your mind first, right, is that witnessing. And then that witnessing can build on, okay, I've never heard a tip like that. That's amazing. Like, oh, I'm on my way to the kitchen and I need to pattern interrupt myself. Let me just hop out the front door really quick and return back.
Skip this kitchen. Go bypass the kitchen.
Why did I come, here? But that's, those are tools. Those are physically getting your body in a different place and having, to say, what actions am I going to take now? And that's so just influential on those daily habits, those daily essences of your being, where you can break up with being out of integrity, and then, giving yourself that grace and getting back on the horse, or I don't think we use that phrase as much in health, but you get the idea. And I love that, you took it from those points and gave people those tips, and they can visualize, being their own personal airplane. But then ultimately it's a muscle, and that muscle is able to really, work for them after the fact, and work for them when they are at that party and, are now strong enough to say no and give people that confident, courageous, hey, this is my journey, this is what I want for myself, and be able to stand in their own story and really talk about that. So Laura, I know you have this special offering for people. I'm not a hypnotherapist, so that's what's amazing, is that you're going to be able to give so much more to people, because we do, similar but different things. So tell us more about your offer.
Well, if you ever feel like you need a mini vacation, and sometimes we all do, you got one. I'm giving you a mini vacation in your own mind. It's a 15-minute guided relaxation and hypnosis session that is pre-recorded and allows you to go on vacation wherever you'd like for 15 minutes, and you'll be amazed. So, that's one. I'm offering you a free distraction, basically, to, if you feel like getting up and going to that cabinet and you turn around, guess what? Turn on the relaxation audio, for yourself, and you could take a power nap during the day with it if you'd like, but it's my gift to you at reenergizenow.com. And I know that everybody is going to love this, because especially if you're, sheltered in place right now, then, or if you have to take some extra time by yourself, this is like a great way to tune into you and your those muscles, those mental muscles we're talking about. Here's the thing, I just want to leave everybody with some hope about this. You're not competing against another muscle. The more you use the new muscle, the other one just gets weaker. So it becomes easier as your new muscle gets stronger, because you're using the other one less. And what happens when you don't use a muscle? It atrophies. It goes away. Or it's like a rut in the road. It washes away if you don't use it.
That's awesome. And to spend more time in your healthy patterns, right, is what I'm hearing. So,
yeah, in fact, one of the things I'm going to be adding on to the 15-minute relaxation is a 1-minute daily relaxation. So you can just take 1 minute to change your whole mindset.
Yeah, I hope you all have these on your computer in there, and this link that you see is something you click on and internalize, because Laura is just doing some amazing work. So Laura, thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for writing Transform Your Body and giving us these mental understandings about how to do weight loss and how to detoxify and be the healthiest versions of ourselves. And then thank you for also what you're doing just on your platforms and being a light for the world. So it was really great having you on the show. I hope everybody goes to Re-Energize Now, and it was so great meeting you, Laura.
Great to be here. Thank you.